Welcome to the Wild Tribe Podcast. I'm your host, Marina Valmont, and sitting beside me is my co-host, Frenello.
Back at it again.
And our wonderful guest today is Franklin. Frank shot your girl. He's a wonderful New York photographer. Thank you for being on the show today.
I'm glad to be here.
Yes, and it is his birthday today.
Oh my.
Happy birthday.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Any birthday wishes?
More life, more success, more blessings.
Man, you're supposed to say I want a big booty hoe. Come on now. Big booty hoes.
That's what I was thinking.
You know?
Okay.
All day, every day.
That too. I ain't gonna. Yeah, that too.
Okay, so we're out here in Miami. We got some festivities going on this week.
We're here for Miami Exotica.
Oh yeah. Home
Or at
of-
least I am.
home of the Sucias.
What is a sucia?
Oh, that's a little dirty Spanish word for, I say it means dirty girl. It's a vulgar term, like a dirty girl, like a slut.
Naughty
or-
girl.
Yeah, like that's a derogatory term, but, the sucias are out here, for real.
Those that love demon time.
Demon time. Semen demons, I say.
Oh my.
And Frank, is this your first time down here in Miami, or you're just coming for fun for your birthday?
No, it's my first time. I've been here for Miami Carnival.
Miami Carnival?
Ooh, that sounds fun.
When was that?
That was like over a decade ago.
Man.
I bet you saw some things.
I did. It was fun. Like I like that carnival vibe. Like people dancing and celebrating.
Shout out to my West Indian people. I love West Indian people. They're great. So how long you been doing photography?
6 years. I got into it. I went to FIT for fashion design, and I just got into it from there because I couldn't afford a photographer. So I said, fuck it, let me pick up the camera and learn it myself.
You went from fashion to photography.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Wait, I didn't know that.
Yep.
So what were you doing you were a designer?
Yeah, like I would draw the sketches up. I'll get the fabric from Manhattan, from the garment district. I would cut it up myself, sew it, and then try to have people fit it and wear it.
Wow.
Okay.
Do you
that's
still
cool.
do that?
I do from time to time. Like I still design and illustrate garments and stuff like that, but never fully bring it to fruition like the way I wanted to.
If you had to compare your style to a fashion house, who would you compare it to?
Okay, well I like avant-garde too, so I love John Galliano or a McQueen,
Alexander McQueen.
or Comme des Garçons, like Ray Caracarbo. But I also
Wow,
like
he
Tom
knows
Ford
his
too.
stuff, man.
He does. Wow.
He really does. I feel like a goober next to him now. Jeez.
But I love Tom Ford too.
Oh,
D
Tom
squared.
Ford. That's a good men's designer brand.
Classy.
And I love his colognes.
Which is he has amazing clothes.
Yeah.
And another person I love too, Virgil. Rest in peace. But Virgil, I loved his creativity.
Oh yeah. I remember him. Yeah. I'm not too big on the brands. I don't really follow too many, but I know the names, and I'm a more simplistic dresser. As you know, I'm a black T-shirt, jeans kind of guy.
No logos.
No logos. I mean, it depends. If it's a cool design, I'll wear it. But I kind of was never really into the logo thing. But I see why people like it. It's great. It's just me. I think my personality is just a lot more. So I could tone it down with the clothing a little bit.
You don't need to be as loud because
Right.
you're already loud.
Yeah, in different ways. Loud making them cheeks clap, I tell you that much. But yeah, so we're out here, Exotica. Have you been to any of those conventions, Franklin?
Yeah, I went to Exotica last year in Jersey. That was my first one.
Oh, okay.
That's the biggest one.
Oh, nice. So have you ever worked with any adult entertainers as a photographer? How do you
Yes.
like doing that?
It was dope. Some of them are very lovely.
Can you name drop?
Yes, absolutely. Nicole Doshi, September
Ooh.
Rain,
Oh,
Queen Rogue. This young lady, her name is Miss Curls. She works for Freak Mob. Yeah, so that was probably the top four.
okay. Okay.
Wow.
So you pretty much got a little roster there of creators you've worked with.
We love September Rain. She's such
Yeah.
a sweetheart.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
she's
worked.
amazing. And it's funny because we only worked together once, but we always told ourselves that we were gonna work together. So I'm just waiting for the opportunity.
Right. Yeah, she's always busy, man. I think she just did like a runway show or something. You know, always doing
Wow.
something new in the world.
She's part of Vixen's new line, Milfy. She Milfy.
She Milfy. Whoa, she Milfy.
Wait, what?
What?
Oh, is that the word? She
She
Milf?
Milfy?
She Milfy, like she's Milfy.
No, because it sounds like
I was
she
like,
Milf.
wait. No, I was like, wait,
You're
what?
like she Milf? She Milf? Okay, cool. So we're out here. How's the process of being and the lifestyle of being a photographer? I mean, a lot of people don't understand the struggles and the hardships. And of course, people know the fun thing of shooting a lot of pretty women.
But pretty women are difficult.
That's the fun part. But the other side,
I can be difficult.
I'm not saying you are, but
You've seen things.
I've seen things. So can you go through the process of being a photographer, the relationship that you have with models, and overall the pros and cons of getting into photography in 2023?
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
So just learning the craft, learning how to edit, learning composition, learning lighting. Like, I'm a natural light photographer, so like I really don't use too much, LEDs or just those type of lights. So
Hey, you know what? I do use all that, okay?
I respect it. I
love the LEDs.
But I'm just a natural light guy. So
Yeah.
learning how to pose a model. One of my favorite photographers, he told me, like, Franklin, sometimes you can't explain it to them. You have to show them. So just learn how to do the poses myself and have them replicate it or emulate it. And and then from that point, post-processing, like, you have to learn how to edit. You have to make sure your edits look somewhat decent, because there's people out there that edits are trash.
Oh yes, over edited.
Yes, very.
They look like coloring books.
Not to name anyone, but I shot with someone and I paid a lot of money, but I couldn't use their photos because my face didn't look the same. My body was just out of proportion. It was terrible.
Oh, is it a Canadian photographer?
Possibly.
Oh, it is.
Okay.
Depends where your aim is.
Oh, I know.
Oh, okay.
I know what the aim is. Yeah.
Shots fired.
Boom, boom.
Shots fired. I like that.
Yes. And even with like the relationship, not to cut you off, Fernello, but even with like relationship with certain models, always learn how to keep professional, obviously, but then you have to deal with egos, you have to deal with, different attitudes, and depending on what they're dealing with. Sometimes like they're going through stuff and then they bring to the photo shoot, and then you have to figure out a way to, keep
Yeah,
them
you gotta
calm.
balance out the turmoil in a photo shoot. I tell you.
Absolutely.
You know.
And one of the worst parts is like, it'll be the day of photo shoot, it's a wrap, and then the next day she's asking, oh, so where's the photos? Like, I just shot with you. yesterday.
Okay. So let's go through that process. You say, what is the turnaround typically for a photographer when it comes to photos?
It depends. Everyone's different. Some people do like 3 to 5. Some people do it 7 to 10 days. Some people take 2 weeks. So it depends on.
Some
like,
people
how-
take 2 months and
Yeah.
a year.
Some people take 6 months.
You're right. Now that's OD. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I usually like to do like 7 to 10 days. Like, and well, if it's paid, but like if it's
Okay, so that's the thing. So paid work, there of course it's expedited and it's priority. So is that explained to the model beforehand?
Absolutely.
Because I've seen some cases where models don't even know when they're getting their stuff back.
Yeah.
And it's not. I think the communication of to the talent is not reciprocated.
absolutely,
So there's confusion.
absolutely.
And I could understand, being a photographer myself, that you got a workload of stuff to do. Editing is not easy, especially if you have a model that isn't up to par, up to standard, and you doing your best to make her look the part. So that comes with a lot of work. But
That's why good, healthy skin is important.
yeah. I mean, I always tell a model, because I do body paint too, right? So it's like I have it a little harder because I'm dealing with mostly the naked body, right? And I gotta morph this naked body into something great. And I don't sometimes have models that are 100% perfect. Listen, no one else is, right? Not everybody is. So there's a couple fine tuning you got to do, especially you want to bring out your artwork. You want to make it look good. You want to make the client look good. And that requires a little, little digital nip tuck, here and there.
Touch up.
Little touch up. But
Sometimes.
sometimes it can get out of hand. So is there a model, is there an experience with a model that may not be your particular cup of tea, but you still worked with her anywhere, and you said, okay, you know, I'm gonna give you a shot, and it took you a while to edit those photos. Did they get like? Is there like any backlash from the wait time with the models? Do you go into explaining why it took so long? Because I feel like that's a sensitive topic.
I mean, well, I always like to talk to them prior, like, to
Right.
build rapport. So, once I talk to them and tell them, like, the time, turnaround time and stuff like that, and what I'm looking for, or what she's looking for, and, like, figure out a way to come together and, somewhere in the middle. But yeah, like, I have that conversation with them, like, let them know up front. But I was shooting a model shoot a little bit on the heavier side. Hey, I can say that? Heavy?
Hey, listen, man.
All right. Just make
Heavy is good.
sure. Yeah.
Thicker.
Thicker.
She's
All
on a
right.
thicker
that's
scale.
That's a better
she's on.
word.
She's high calorie dense.
So, like, she was on a thicker scale, and I don't have no problem. I shot models that were a little bit thick. But she wanted
Thickness
to be,
is good.
Yes, but she wanted to, like, really, like, suck in everything. Like, with her stomach, her
So
arms.
basically, she wanted Dr. 90210 in a digital world.
Yes.
Like, she wanted you to make her look completely different.
But
Absolutely.
it's not fair to lie to the fans and the public
not at all.
like
Well,
that.
first of all, it's not fair to the photographer that has to go in and be a goddamn digital surgeon and try to make you look like you're 120 pounds when you're really
She
190.
was, like, she was at least 200.
So it's that's not what we do as photographers. We're not digital retouchers. There's a difference. There's retouchers that actually do this separately from photography. All we do is skin retouch. We're not there to morph you into a new person. That's the
agree.
thing. So there needs to be an understanding, because I always tell the girls that, hey, look, I'm gonna do a little skin retouch, but everything else, if you want to change the photo yourself, you're more than welcome. But this is gonna be shot. This is what you look like. I'm not gonna go and change your whole appearance.
Natural beauty, what
Right.
the person really looks like.
And low key, you might say change a couple things for a model. She may not even like that. So it's a very sensitive thing to do. That's why I don't really touch anything. I just touch the skin. If there's some some blemishes here and there, I'll clean it up. But I'm not gonna transform you into a new person. Like, you're not a goddamn transformer.
Yeah.
And our job isn't to do that.
No, I understand.
So what did you say to her when she asked you to do all those changes and make her look like a completely different person?
I said I'll do it, but you just gotta pay me more. That's all. That's it.
Yeah,
that's
pay me more. That's a whole different job. Really?
That's gonna have to take. That takes way more time than what I have to do. Like, I wanted to just go in there, change the lighting, change some of the color tones, change some of the blemishes and stuff like that, make her have nice skin. But she wanted them to look completely different. I'm like, nah, I have to charge you for that. Yeah.
So you do your fair share of paid work and collabs. So how does it feel to do collaborations? Is it a fun experience for you so far, or has it been more of a headache and a hassle?
Now it's been more of a headache and a hassle because
Okay.
someone would say, "Yo, Franklin, you're a dope photographer. I love your work, and like I would love to work with you." I'm like, "All right, cool," but they only love your work when it's free. So it's like, okay.
Interesting.
So it's like, okay, cool. So you mean tell me you love my work so much, but I'm not worthy enough getting paid?
Do you find some models get insulted when you say, "Yeah, I'd love to work with you too. These are my rates."
I mean, well, they do that too.
Yeah.
This is like the old bait and switch trick. Oh, your work is so great, but you know what? I'm a photographer. Here are my rates. You should work with me. I think that's a little like insulting, because if I'm gonna contact you, right? Therefore, I like your look. Therefore, I think you might be a great muse for me. I'm not gonna hit you with my rates. I'll say, hey, love your look. I think you and I could do some great work together. Here's what I charge. So you show them your value first. Hey, this is what I charge usually, but because I think we could do great work together, how would it sound if we can work together on a collab? So now you're introducing what you're worth to her, so she knows your value, and then you're letting her know, hey, but because I think you're such a great model, we could do something together. You're giving her an opportunity to work with you without having to pay the rate.
And flattering her.
Right. So I think introducing yourself that way creates value for yourself. So you're not just some like guy just trying to shoot her, and like there's so many people jockeying for her. So I think adding in your fees and letting them know that your worth is important, but also if you're going to contact them first, you introduce it to them that way, and then you leave it up to them if they want to work with you.
I agree. That works.
And there's some models that actually just rather just pay you. They rather just have the content for themselves. They rather just pay you outright and do it that way.
I'll take that too.
I'll take it. I'll take all of it.
I'll take all of it. Listen.
But there's also models, which is kind of weird, and some photographers are guilty of this too. They'll hit you up, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I love your work. We should work together," and then they'll hit you with rates.
I get that.
I'm
Models
like,
will do
I get
that?
that.
Yeah, it's like
What?
a new
A lot.
trend or something.
I get that a lot.
So
I've never heard of that.
I mean, it's never particularly happened to me, but it's happened to a lot of my photographer friends.
I've got it.
I would do that to someone who's really new, but I probably wouldn't even shoot
But
with
but
them.
why? The thing is, it's okay to give your rates, but I'm saying, why would you hit up a photographer and then try to get him to pay you?
They're hitting the photographer
Right.
up.
If you're hitting someone up,
Oh, that's just wrong.
if you're hitting someone up, like that's like not cool. Like if you're hitting me up to compliment me and be like, "Oh, nice work," by the way, I'm a model too. If you're looking for someone, I do model and I do charge for this amount. If you're interested in that, I think the approach needs to be done better.
Yeah.
I agree. 100%.
Because there's nothing wrong with hitting people up and telling them their work is great. But if you're trying to sell something, I think the approach needs to be more organized and
I think if you're selling something, you should wait for people to
Right.
approach you.
right. Because if now I say, Marina, you hit me up and you say, "Wow, Fernello, you have great work. It's amazing. I love your content. Awesome." And then I would be like, "Oh, I see you model. Are you, do you do this for a living or is this a hobby or whatever?" And then you would say, "Well, yeah, I'm a professional model, and this is what I charge." Because now I'm inquiring about you. So then you
True.
can hit them with the, "Oh yeah, I'm a professional model. These are my rates. However, maybe we can work something out that could both benefit us, and we can, give us the opportunity to work together."
Mutually beneficial.
I think there isn't that conversation sometimes, and I think words can get miscrewed and confused. Sometimes people confuse words, and it might look like you're hustling someone, but you're not really. I think is this lack of communication. I think if people learned how to communicate better, it wouldn't be so bad.
I agree. And also, I have no problem collaborating. It really has to benefit me.
Oh, absolutely.
really
Like
have
if some girl from the middle of nowhere hits me up, it depends. If she has an amazing look that I think will benefit my portfolio,
Yeah.
absolutely. I don't care about her following. But if she's like, the run-of-the-mill model, nothing really spectacular, but she has a great audience, then you could say, okay, well, she has a great audience. There could be because I had plenty of those where the models are average, but they had a great personality and they have a great audience, and I could capitalize off of that.
More
new
exposure, new
right?
traffic, new followers and
Yeah.
fans.
So
That's worth
you
it.
give them a shot, and you say, okay, great. We could come together and do something. Absolutely, and so it depends, right? It depends on.
I agree
What it
because
is.
like some of my models that I work with, like they're all amazing and beautiful in their own way.
Right.
So, but some like aesthetically are a little bit better than others. I'm not gonna say names, obviously, but even the ones that are not as aesthetically pleasing as the others, they still gave me something I could use. And, so
And also too, when it comes down to it, it's reliability and dependability. And I would rather work with a 6 that's dependable, reliable, and give me what I need than to work with a 10, because you can make a 6 into an 8. With the right lighting and the right posing and all that. And you can get a 10 aesthetically that looks amazing but can't take a picture in front of a
agree.
camera.
Yeah.
They're like it's like shooting a brick. No movement, nothing. They're just pretty on, like they just know how to take selfies and that's it. So you have some women out there, not just women, but models in general. There's models that may have an average look. Or a little above average look, but they can just pose. They can give you something dynamic. They can bring emotion into
they can tell a story.
into the picture.
And with the right makeup and the right hair, that knocks you up too.
Yeah, yeah, and
Absolutely.
I think models in general know how to be. They're like actors and actresses. They can be chameleons. They can change depending on the part. You know?
So, have you had any bad experiences with models? Not to name names,
Name some, please.
I'm not gonna do
List.
that. I'm not gonna do that.
You can always allude to names.
Just one thing, I just don't take shit from people. So like one thing, I'm very big on respect. So sometimes you have models that just are a little bit out of pocket, and where I have to put them in their place.
You got to put them in their place.
Yeah, like I just don't tolerate disrespect. So like some of the things that they'll say, or like cursing, using profanity,
Whoa.
or think they can get away with.
Wait,
just talking to me in some way.
cursing and profanity. Like,
I mean, well, profanity. Yes.
profanity.
Yes.
Why? What do they do?
No, it's just like, well, I don't like this picture. Okay, ma'am. Well, I like this picture, and yeah, I'm gonna post it. Well, no, I don't want you to post it.
Oh, so that's another thing, right?
What?
So when you sign a model release, and this is to educate everybody out there, when you sign a model release, you're releasing those images to the photographer. He can do as he wishes with those images. So if he wants to put out a specific look that he finds appropriate for his brand, he can do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you think the picture looks bad or not. You already gave him a release. You gave him permission to
And
do
no
so.
one's forcing you to repost it.
Exactly. So when models come to me, like, oh, I don't like that photo, I'm like, oh, well, just don't look at it. Don't look at the picture. Don't look at the page. But it's up there, too late.
I agree. And also another issue I have is when I give models my rates, like, well, this other photographer is a lot cheaper. Well,
Okay,
I don't
then
know what
hit
to tell
them
you.
up.
I don't know what to tell you. I can't do it.
I don't know what is this thing, like, I hate when people say that. It's like they try to belittle you and make you look small and devalue you, and that's not very respectful. And you know what it is, too? Another thing, it's like most of these so-called, I wouldn't even call them models.
IG models?
I would say, yeah, most of them don't even have respect for the profession of photography. Let's be real. A lot of them don't.
Tourist models.
Yeah, a lot of them don't. They don't respect rates. They don't respect the craft that goes into it and the time. And like you said, oh, I could find somebody cheaper. Cool. Go to any luxury place of business. Go to like a Louis Vuitton and say, oh, I can get a bag cheaper. You think you could go in there and say that to them?
They don't give a fuck. They'll kick you out. Like, all right, cool. Have a
It's
good
either you
one.
got the money or you don't. You don't go telling someone that. So you got to treat yourself as if you are a luxury brand. There's nobody like you. You're unique. So if they don't want it or if they can't afford it, go somewhere else.
When it's like getting my nails done, I could go to the cheap place on the corner. Maybe I'll get a bacterial fungus. But I could go to a luxury place and pay a lot, or I could go somewhere in the middle. You get what you pay for.
Absolutely.
You really do. And I think it's up to the photographer to stand their ground and to say no. Sometimes you just got to learn how to walk away from certain things. And especially when you're getting booked. Even when I started out, I walked away from a lot of opportunity because it just wasn't for me. I wasn't going to downgrade my rate. I wasn't going to do, we're going to give you a lot of work. So it doesn't make sense for me to work for $500, but I have to do 4 to 5 jobs to make the money that I can make with one job.
Right?
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
And I'm eating up more. It actually costing me more because now I'm doing more work for less money. That means I got to buy more materials because the materials are going to finish. I got to go to the store and buy more. So I'm actually losing out financially by lowering.
Paint isn't free.
It's exhausting.
Exactly. And I'm taking pictures. I'm doing all. So, yeah, you may look at it like, well, I'm going to get more in volume, but you're really working yourself to the core. You're stacking up yourself with a lot of work that's going to take time to do. And overall, I'd rather just work twice a month, but because of the price that I'm asking, it's gonna actually average out to about the same. So, and I'm gonna work less. So for me, I'd rather be the guy that's expensive than to be the guy that's cheap.
I learned this from watching this broadcast, The Business, by a gentleman named Jason Black. And he always say this: branding is perceived value. So the way you put yourself out there is how people are going to perceive you, and that's your
Branding is everything. It is your blueprint to your success. So if you don't brand yourself correctly, if you're out there just doing stupid things, it'll come back to bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
And no one's going to respect you. They're not going to respect your value and your time. So you, in the beginning, you might get less work, but you're going to get better quality clients.
Integrity.
And and you're gonna be in this for the long haul, and you're gonna survive. So I think your branding and being having a strategy going in, playing the long game instead of the short game. Oh well, I could cash out and make this amount of money if I charge less. You know, you see models do it too. They devalue themselves because they think, okay, I'm gonna get a quicker bag this way. But in reality, all you're doing is burning yourself out, working yourself too hard, and eventually, everybody burns out, and the value is diminished, and the people that cherish their value and work smart, not hard, there's a difference, right?
Yeah.
Will have more longevity in the end. In my
Very
opinion.
true.
You know, so yes, your value and your brand is everything.
Absolutely. What made you get into body painting?
Me?
Yes.
This is a Fernella interview now.
Yes. Curious minds want to know.
It's a long story, but long story short, I had a photographer friend that I knew, and at the time I was doing fashion. I was doing custom T-shirts, right?
Oh, she was making stuff.
Yeah, I was making things custom. And this was during the time, I'm actually dating myself. This is during the time when the Ed Hardy T-shirts were popular, and people were wearing like all of that. So I was doing like custom shirts, right?
Okay.
And at the time, I did not know what body painting was. And he was like, you should body paint someone, and da-da-da. And I'm like, what is body painting? What is this? And then he showed me. I'm just like, whoa, like, okay. It was very overwhelming because I saw some crazy work, and I'm just like, I don't even know if I could do this. And I said, I'll think about it. You know, I don't know. And at the time, I had a girlfriend, so it was kind of weird for me to go paint on a naked girl that's not my own, you know?
How did she feel about that?
That's a good question.
Because a lot of women would not be
Well,
comfortable.
she kind of was. Well, it kind of softened the blow because she was getting used to me doing the fashion shows and then working with other models. So at the time, she was already kind of like, she kind of bent the knee of me doing other things with women. So this was just like another thing that I stacked on her. But she took it a lot easier with the body paint than she did with me doing the modeling with the girls.
Why?
Well, the modeling was a big step, and my girlfriend at the time was not a model. This was before IG was like anything
Popular.
So this was anything. I was body painting before IG even existed.
Whoa.
Yeah, so IG didn't come into play till about 2010, I think 2011.
Yeah.
So I picked up the paintbrush and started painting. Facebook was out and MySpace was out. So at the time, I wasn't putting that stuff out there. It was just kind of like stuff that I was doing as a hobby. So she was like, "Oh, well, you're doing this thing." I'm like, "Yeah, you know, I just want to like try something new." And I spoke to her about it. She was pretty cool about it. It wasn't anything crazy. She just you have a good trust with someone when you have a great bond and a connection with someone. Telling them the things that you want to accomplish is not that difficult. It's when a person doesn't trust you and they think you're of the world and you're gonna go do little side missions, they get worried. So you could determine a relationship whether the partner is letting them do stuff, right? If the partner is restricting them or saying no, like you could tell there's something wrong with that person that wants to go out and about. They don't trust them. The partner usually doesn't trust that person that wants to do these new things. Because they're scared. They know, like, okay, this person might be a train
They could
wreck.
lose them.
Right. Well, with me, she never lost me doing that. You know, it was just like, there's an opportunity here. I was getting bored doing what I was doing. And I said, okay, I could try this out. I had a couple friends, models that I knew. And I said, hey, I got this thing that I want to do. Would you guys be cool with me body painting you? And they said, yeah, that seems like a cool idea, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, cool. And that was the first time. I remember the first time I ever did my first body painting, I did 2 models.
Okay.
2.
Yeah,
your
so I
first
started,
time.
I went in the frying pan. I went in head first. And it was only the top only. It wasn't like a full body. So I did a front design and I did a back design.
You remember the designs?
Yeah. Huh?
You remember the
Yeah,
design?
yeah. So I did like this heart for the first, like I did this like little tribal heart thing. It was pink and black, and then I did a back design on a like it was like I forgot what it looked like. It was almost like a tribal look, right? It was quick, it was easy, and it was my first ever photo shoot with two models, body painted, any kind of thing like that. So we did that. It was cool, and ever since then, like people were like, "Oh my God!" They were amazed by it. It turned a lot of heads. It was an icebreaker when I would show people, "Oh my God, you did this!" And then I said, "Okay, people are actually liking this stuff, and they're taking wind of it. So let me just keep doing it."
I do it.
And then one thing led to another, and then I started getting invites to doing fashion shows. Like I got so much opportunity doing body painting, it was crazy, and I wasn't even ready for it because my skill level was like. It was just like minuscule compared to where I'm at now. But I took advantage of an opportunity, even though I might not have been ready for it. The time that it was there, I took advantage of the timing. So sometimes in life, you may not think you're ready, but opportunity doesn't wait for anyone, and you got to jump on that opportunity.
You have to challenge yourself.
You have to challenge yourself. The same way that I got the opportunity to be on Skin Wars, I felt that I wasn't ready for that, but the opportunity was there, and we don't know how long the show was going to be going on for.
Then you would either sink or swim.
Right. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take every opportunity that's thrown at me, and I'm going to relish it, and I'm going to do my best. And that's what I did. So moving forward with everything, that's how I was able to get where I'm at, because I just took advantage of every opportunity that was laid out for me.
I dig it. Now let me ask you this: are there any body painters out there right now to this day that's still doing it that inspire you, or you look at and say, "Okay, yeah, he's official"? And
I mean, it was a period of time where it was a great time to be a body painter. This was around when Instagram was new. We had some fresh people in the mix. We had about 6 body painters like doing it. I mean, there's a few that are still around, but a lot of them kind of like followed trends, and now you don't even see them doing it anymore, or there's a less demand for it. But the problem was there were only a few people that were doing it to a high level, and then everybody else around them started just copying their style just to get bookings. So that's the thing, and it happened a lot in Atlanta. I don't know why. Atlanta is like the copycat town of the United States. Like everybody in Atlanta just copies everybody else for some reason. So I noticed that this body painter is painting exactly like this person, and this person's like, okay. So I always try to really stand out and do my own thing and create my own type of style. I was like, okay, I see people are doing this type of work. Well, I'm going to start doing fashion brands. I'm going to start painting fashion, And I started using the Chanels and the Louis Vuittons. Nobody was doing that. I was the only one doing that.
Ooh, Versace.
And the Versace, yeah, I started doing all of that. And I said, I'm going to start doing brands and paint them, right? So that's how I kind of like separated myself from the pack, right? And then I created my own roster of models because I wanted, I when you say look up to people, I never really looked up to any body painter. I looked at designers.
okay,
So my biggest inspiration comes from design in the fashion world, and magazines and like pop culture. So I looked at things around me that I liked, and I wanted to be like that. So if there was a certain artist, musician that I liked, I said, okay, I'm going to emulate this person's swagger, his style, the way they do their presentation with stuff. I'm going to take a little pieces of that. Let me take little pieces of Prince. Let me take a little pieces of Michael Jackson. Let me take little pieces of Usher. Let me just fuse that in some stuff that I'm doing. Let me take Victoria's Secret, the way they have a roster of beautiful women, the angels. I want to create my own roster of models and painted girls. So let me take pieces of that. So my inspiration came from watching the pop culture around me taking that in and creating what we call Fresnel to this day. That came from the artists, the models, the designer brands. Now, in the competitive nature of things, there were a few artists that were in my lane that we were like neck and neck when it came to who was the guy. I never claimed to be the guy. I just wanted to be consistent, and I wanted to have long-term value. So I was never aiming to be the guy, right? I just wanted to be the best version of me.
Well, I think we can all agree that you are the guy.
That's perception. That's perception, because some people, like, art is very,
subjective.
Like, yeah. So I could say I'm the guy, but some person might be like, well, I don't like his work. It's too sexual. This person is a more traditional artist. I like that. I've heard people say that about me. And I said, you're absolutely right. You have the right to say that, because it's true. You can like what you want. I don't claim to be... I would say one thing that I do claim to be is the most consistent artist. I put out the most consistent content. So, more people will probably notice me more because I'm more consistent. Certain artists only put things out once in a while, so they don't really kind of hit those algorithms.
Yes.
And they kind of get forgotten, right? So, and they say it's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, for me, it's not how you paint, it's who you paint. So I've painted the right people, I've worked with the right photographers, and that's how I was able to stay a cut and above the rest.
So Franklin, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
How do the women in your life feel about you shooting with models in scantily clad attire?
Or no attire.
Or no attire. Like, your
keep
love
it real
interests.
here. He shoots a lot of nudes.
I mean, to be honest, like, a lot of my female fan base or people that like my work, they really do fuck with it. They love it. And they're saying, like, oh, Frank, I love your work. Or I wish I could shoot with you. I'm like, oh.
But what about the people you're dating?
Well, I'm not dating anyone, so I guess that works out for me.
Speaking of dating, I'm glad you brought that topic up. As a content creator, do you know how difficult it is to date? And do you know how we kind of get disqualified from regular dating automatically?
Yes.
So it's very, very hard to date as a content creator. It's very, very hard to date in 2023 in general. As a person in this world.
It's a hookup culture.
So now I think something is in the air or something's in the water that's programming us this way. I swear.
Uh-oh.
I think so. I think there's some sort of thing that they've implemented where they got it into our minds that we shouldn't marry or reproduce. Because if you notice this generation, less people want to have kids.
I don't want children.
I know. I'm just saying less people want to do that. Why is that?
Let me ask you a question, Marina. Would you say in our society today that we're really doing a great job when it comes to marriage?
Well, I can only speak on North America.
Let's speak about North America.
Most marriages end in divorce,
Yes,
but I don't think people are communicating. I don't think they're working on communicating and loving each other properly. There's a lot of narcissism and selfishness. So that's not a healthy environment to develop something good.
I agree.
But yeah, marriage is very unnecessary these days if you're not going to have a family.
That is true. But the whole point of being married is to have a family, in my opinion.
To
Why?
procreate.
It's like you're taking that person's last name. You're pretty much making a bond, right? And to marry someone is to build. That's the whole point of marriage, in my opinion.
But you can be common law with someone and have all the same rights.
That's state stuff, man. That's not that. That's the thing, the problem is the state gets involved, and that's why some people don't even want to marry, because it's all connected to these rules.
You were telling me about single mothers yesterday, and in some states, what were you saying?
Okay, so there was this thing where this guy went to prison for 5 years for not paying child support.
I saw that video.
And this whole time, the woman that accused him of not paying child support actually knew who the real father was, had a relationship with the real father,
Shameful.
and didn't tell that guy. And then he found out in a paternity test that he was not the father, and he went to jail for 5 years.
So when they found out the paternity, he wasn't off the hook.
No, I think this was the paternity test was after he did.
After he did the time. Oh. Imagine doing 5 years for a kid that wasn't yours.
I'd be so mad.
And then the girl, nothing happens to the female. It's just crazy how society is. So there's certain laws in certain states. Like if you're seeing a woman with a child and you're living with that woman, over time, eventually you take on the role as the father.
But the child isn't yours.
Nope.
It doesn't have to be yours.
Doesn't have to be yours.
And you have to pay child support if you leave the family.
Wow.
Yeah. So you got to look and pay attention where you live, guys. And that's why you see a lot of passport bros springing up these days.
Sex vacations? Sex tourism.
I wouldn't say they're sex tourists. I think they're just trying to get a better quality female that's not brainwashed by the West.
90 Day Fiancé. One of my favorite shows.
So it's a double-edged sword when it comes to this passport bros situation. And I'm gonna just speak freely, and I'm gonna give you my opinion on this whole phenomenon, right?
Okay.
I think a bunch of these men don't have the capability or is very lazy to try to date a Western woman because a Western woman comes with a lot of challenges.
Yes.
I agree.
So they're lazy-minded and they just want to get laid. And it's harder for them to get laid with a Western woman because a Western woman requires more.
We want to go out to dinner. We want to be romance. We want conversation.
Well, not only that, there's also a large proportion of educated women in the West. Whereas when you go to these third world countries, the women are not as educated because they can't afford certain things. And they're just looking to live a good, decent life. And they will be happy with a guy that's going to provide it for them. Whether they have no personality, whether they're not the best looking, they're not fixated on those things.
They're grateful.
As women are in the West, are fixated more with status and what they look like, and they got this amount of money, they got to be this height, there's a lot. So on both ends, I think there's a problem. There's a problem with men because I don't think they're challenging themselves enough to deal with Western women.
They're giving up too easily.
They're giving up too easy. But also, Western women do have unrealistic expectations. Okay? So there's two sides to the coin here. And I think no one is trying to negotiate and work together. So guys are just saying, screw it. We're just going to flee. We're going to go and find ourselves a little foreign thing. But when you go to that area, now you got two different types of women. You got women that are just looking at you as an ATM.
Yeah.
Because you're an opportunity for them.
And when their visa comes in, bye-bye.
Right. And then you got women that truly, honestly want a companionship and they want to get out of poverty.
Yeah.
And and they're looking for someone to almost be a white knight, right?
Yeah.
So
who doesn't want that?
Right. And that's cool. But there's guys that are going down there just strictly for sex tourism.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
Colombia.
There's different sides to the coin for this, and I truly believe that's really what's going on. There's the phenomenon of the passport bros going down there because they want to get laid, and there's some guys that really truly want to find someone.
Yeah.
So there's two different people going down.
I'm all for people trying to find love and happiness.
Yeah, and I'm also for people trying to get laid.
Yes. As long as you're honest about your expectations.
Always get laid, my friends.
Don't lie, though. Don't lie.
Do you think we could fix that, like in our society today, when it comes to marriage?
Shoot, man, that's like, I'm sorry, but no. I think it's deeply, deeply fractured to the point of no repair unless you hit the reset button on society. I think there's laws in place and certain, I don't want to go in too deep with it, but there's certain things going on right now that have certain agendas that are not going. You'll never see the return of a traditional family ever again.
We're evolving out of it. Evolution.
I wouldn't call it evolution. I mean,
it makes sense that they're not promoting marriage as much because there isn't all overpopulation of the earth. Is that what you're saying?
No, I just think that there's other nefarious things at play that I don't want to go into. It's too much of a deep rabbit hole, and it's not the podcast.
Cue in the creepy music.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I see what you're saying. I mean, but you do have men and women out there that still have traditional values.
Yeah, but I think traditional values also comes with a traditional home, and most women in the West don't have traditional homes anymore.
Okay.
So I think with this whole feminist independence movement, has taught women, hey, we don't necessarily need a man for X, Y, and Z. I can provide that for myself.
Thankfully.
What women really truthfully seek in a male is, some sort of companionship.
Love, protection,
Right.
stability, guidance.
I mean, stability also comes with making money. Stability to y'all is making money. You see a guy that's poor, you're not going to think he's stability.
I wouldn't want to date someone who was a lot less financially stable than me.
Right, of course. So it goes down to making money. It's all about making money, right? So that being said, the problem is, in my opinion, in my eyes, that we have more highly educated women that are making the same amount of money as men.
Or
If
more.
not more.
Or more, depending on the type of job they're getting, right? And you see less blue collar workers because a lot of those jobs are kind of going extinct,
Thank you, AI.
right? So now a lot of men are kind of displaced.
I agree. I feel like a lot of men nowadays don't know how to do things with their hands. Like my grandfather, he was a carpenter, right? So I used to hate carpentry when I was younger. He used to bring me to these, jobs and stuff like that. Frank, you're gonna come work with me or whatever. But then as I got older, I started to appreciate it. Rather calling someone to fix something for me, I could fix it myself. And so I think a lot of men are not really good with hands like that. But I do want to ask you.
Oh, yeah, they're good with their hands on, right? They're good.
Touche.
They're good with their hands.
So, can you be in love with someone that's like blue collar, like a bus driver?
Yeah, I could.
Okay.
Yo,
I definitely
bus drivers
could.
are stable as hell. They got the best
Yeah.
pensions, man.
I've dated blue collar guys. I've dated electricians.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
as
he
long
does-
as someone is intelligent and caring and adventurous, that's the key for me.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to hit a certain price point when it comes to like financially.
No, but definitely has to be stable with a job and some source of income.
She wants to know if shit hits the fan and she can't work, a guy could pretty much
Will
pick
he
up,
be able to
provide and do those things as a man should. I think you should be strong enough and financially strong enough to hold down a family, right?
Absolutely.
In case your woman is going to get pregnant, right? If you're married, she's not going to work most of the time, right? So you got to make sure you foot the bill on all that stuff. So women feel more comfortable knowing that they can nest. Women are nesters.
Yes.
Men are builders.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So women come when they see you've already built something and they plant the nest. That's how it works.
Yeah, because like
In most
also as
cases.
men, like we're the warrior class. So like if my girl gets pregnant or like you looking for security. God forbid if anything happens. So like we have to provide, and that's just in our nature. So because I always say like men are the warrior class. And if a man breaks in right now and try to harm you, that man's gonna have to take the bullet. He's gonna have to defend you. So
I would help. I'm pretty strong.
I'm pretty sure you are. Make a muscle.
Look at those guns.
Check you out.
It's all in the legs, though.
Yeah.
So
She's a
okay.
kicker.
Yeah. I'm a kicker.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing with. So going back to the dating thing, right? Yeah, it is very difficult to date in 2023. Is it difficult to date as a content creator? Absolutely.
It's even more difficult
Yeah, and
because you get people just wanting to sleep with you.
well, I think it's more difficult for a female than it is a male.
I agree.
Because we can actually still get a girl that, or say a girl, wait, a woman that would appreciate us.
Yes.
But it's harder for a man to deal with the amount of attention a content creator gets, and they don't, and especially if they have an OnlyFriends or something like that. That's definitely like in the realms of like non-dateable. And like I was saying off camera, we were talking about this earlier. I said that some of the creators that are female don't want to date other creators, and the men don't want to date them because they see them as a fetish or a fantasy. So
They don't see us as human.
right. And so what happens is they end up with the they end up with a guy that they didn't pick first.
Okay.
It was the only option, and then the guy becomes almost like a beta. And then they have the relationship, they have the guy, but it's not the guy that they really want. So there's still that they're not satisfied.
So they cheat on them because the passion isn't there.
And they usually cheat on them with the content guy or somebody else. Like, you know, like, so it's just like, you can't win. It's harder to win in relationships as a female content creator. I really do feel for them because it's really difficult.
Speaking of relationships and content creators, what do you think about the Adam 22 and Lena, the plug situation?
You want to go first?
Man. Okay, I'll go first. So here's the thing, how I feel about that. I think it's none of our business. They're married. They're two adults coming together, and they made that decision together as a couple, as a married entity. And what they choose to do is their business. And guess what? They're laughing to the bank because everybody is on their shit. And they're smart. You know, their business, they know how to do business.
They played it out really well.
It was a well-played, orchestrated plan. And people don't realize it. And people are like, oh, my God, poor Adam. Oh, she's doing this.
Meanwhile, all those comments are setting off their posts and sending them
now,
traffic
now,
to business.
do I think... I think a lot of people don't understand that this goes on normally in swinger lifestyle. And I don't think Adam has personally went out and said he's a swinger, but by the looks of it...
He doesn't need to. We know.
We know he is, but I don't think he wanted people to know. I think it was just something he was saving, but I think he was always like this. Yeah. That's why it's not really bothering him as much. Now, do I think it's the right thing to do, me personally?
Would you put yourself in that situation?
Me personally, hell no. Like if I love a woman, and this is me, right? Adam's different. He has his preferences. He is, you know, he's doing his thing with his wife. Like they both agree on this.
What if she comes to you and says, "Honey, I could make $1 million for us"? Would that amount of money change your view?
Nope.
First of all, my morality. If I'm marrying you. I'm marrying you to keep a certain morality in that marriage. If I wanted to pimp you out and make money, why would I marry you? I can just be your boyfriend and pimp you out. Yeah. You know, so why would I sacrifice and do these things under God? Because I am a spiritual man. Why would I do these things under God than to sell you out for some money? That's to me not doing my job as a husband, as a man.
Bringing it home for the family. You guys are gonna have a bigger house.
It doesn't matter. That
retirement.
There's no price that you can put on someone's mortality, and that's the problem with society. Everything has a price.
Yes, everything has a price.
No, if you're a person of God and value, those things, those material things that you that's just here for now, but long term that will have an effect on your life. Long term. So, no, I would not sell out my woman for no $1 million. Because if I'm marrying her for a certain purpose, that purpose was never for money or for capital gain. If I want capital gain, I'll stay single and do what I'm doing right now. But if I'm going to marry someone, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to have her sleep with another dude for money. That defeats the whole purpose of my marriage.
I agree. Like, and I also think like she's a representation of you when she steps outside.
Exactly. Like I'm not that type of guy. That's not me. So I'm not saying what Adam is doing is wrong. He's doing what he feels is necessary for him. I have to do what feels necessary for me. So if I'm going to choose to do marriage, I am at a certain point in my life where I want to change. If I want to stay single and do single activities, then what's the point of doing that commitment? That commitment means something. That's the problem. No money is going to come in my way to sell out the woman that I'm supposed to be with. Right? If that's the case, then marriage means nothing. Then the institution of marriage is done. If someone could just buy your wife.
But if you're already a swinger and you're already doing it.
You didn't say anything about swinging. You asked me for my personal opinion. That has nothing to do with anything.
Well, I'm defending Adam.
I didn't say that he was wrong either. I'm saying I'm standing my ground. You asking me a personal question. In my opinion,
would you swing with your wife?
No, I would not.
Would you swing with your girlfriend?
No.
If it's my girlfriend, probably.
I wouldn't do it.
No.
No.
Nah, if it's because here's the thing. I'm not committing to. See, the thing, girlfriend, you're not even if you say someone's your girlfriend or someone's your boyfriend, that's still not really a commitment. It's not only commitment when it's under the hands of God and law.
But let me ask
Ring
you a
on the
question.
finger.
Let me ask you a question. But you're dating this person with more of intentions of being with this person for long term, correct?
Correct.
So why would you want to put her out
I
there
think
anyway?
once you fully commit to marriage, you've crossed over to a new paragon in your life where it's going to be different. You've made that mental change where, okay, this is going to be my wife. You got that little gray area in the beginning when you're in your early stages to experiment, right? So when you actually make the transition to husband and wife, you know what's going to work for you. So you have that little window to experiment when you're not in quote unquote a committed real relationship.
It could go either way.
Right, because that's when you test shit out. So you can try things if you want, see how you like it, and if you still love that person after that swinging goes down, that means that person is meant to be for you, and that means that you guys got something stronger than anything.
Yeah, I agree.
If you test out that waters, if she's just your girlfriend. Now, if you feel some type of way about it and you're like, oh my God, I feel disgusting, I feel this, then guess what? Never do it again. But you learned I believe we should try things out just once in our life as far as like certain things to test our magnitude for tolerance.
I agree.
Right? I wouldn't know what hurts me if I don't see it or if I don't experience it. So if the whole swinging thing happens and it's like, okay, well, if she's cool with it, then I need to see if I'm cool with it. And if it's something that we can do, cool. But more than likely, I wouldn't want my wife swinging if I'm committed to her in that way. You know?
But you're getting to do your thing too.
Marriage is a mental transition and a spiritual transition. To me, you're asking me. You, Marina Valmont, is a completely different entity from me. I was born in a different body and a different mind. So what is in my path is going to be completely different from what's in your path.
That's
It's not the same. I
Marriage
can't.
is
I can't.
different
I
for
can't
me.
force. I can't force people how to feel. This is why I don't talk about it. But when I feel like I talk about it, people try to defend what they believe, like I'm attacking their belief. I'm
We're
not.
just having a conversation. Marriage for me is like adopting a pet, and you find your forever home.
And that's you.
Yeah.
But to a man with a certain type of beliefs,
we look at it different.
it's different. Especially people that like us that come from a different cultural background. Your culture is different from my culture.
True.
So you are more liberal. You know, American white women are
Canadian.
more liberal than people of color because there's certain things that they are brought up differently. When you're in our culture, West Indian people, right?
Well, I'm Black American, but
Right. So for me, I was born in a different type of culture. So we can't do stuff like that. We were very modest, very like Christian, like values. You know, even like Filipino people,
Yes.
like very, very modest and very Christian, very Catholic, like that type of background. So we're not as liberal. We're more conservative. But I'm not here to say that what you're doing is wrong by any means. Swinging, all that stuff, it works if you both people coming together with a common bond. I believe in that. If you both coming together with a common purpose and you share that bond, there's not going to be any friction. But if there's also certain couples that are, I've noticed that the guy might not be so much into the swinging, but he's doing it to please his wife.
Oh.
So there's situations where the guy isn't really all that into it, but he knows that he probably can't get a girl like he got, and he's gonna tolerate. And that's what happens when you're in love. You start to tolerate certain things that you don't think you would tolerate because you want that woman to be happy. So you'll okay, I'll do the swinging, babe, or because she's so hot, and you're like, I don't want to lose her, and well, I get to be with other women too, but that wasn't their true intent in the beginning.
Understand.
And so it does happen to dudes, and it does happen to women too. Some women are forced into being in poly relationships that they don't want to be in.
I've heard that more so.
So it's kind of like I said, man, like sometimes all that swing stuff, sometimes some people kind of get forced into that world, you know?
Wait, forced to be in a relationship they didn't want to be with?
Well, I've heard of
It's more like pressure.
women dating men that get pressured into
It's
doing
like peer
it.
pressure.
I understand, but they don't have to do it.
Well, you have to understand the conditions of the mind.
They feel like they have to.
You're going to feel like you don't want to disappoint your partner.
I agree.
Because there's a lot of people pleasers out there. So they may not feel like, oh man, if I say no, then he's not going to be happy or she's not going to be happy. And then I'm making them sad.
And maybe there's emotional abuse.
And some people have abandonment issues and like they don't want to lose their partner. So they'll just tolerate anything, right? And then they get, that's how they get suckered into the lifestyle too. Some people, not all. But like I said, going back to my belief, if I have a marriage, my marriage is intent to have a family with that woman.
I agree.
I cannot have children, have a child, have kids with that woman and try to explain to my child that, hey, mommy's going to get drilled by some other dude.
But children don't need to hear that.
Listen, it'll happen. They'll find out. People find out.
Especially in the social media era. Like,
Yeah, and you're talking about a guy that's his relationship is public to the world. They make content, so it's even harder for his kids to understand. Like, that's what I'm saying. Now you're talking about something done in private. Well,
that's different.
In that situation, that's not in private. Everyone in the world is seeing that. So imagine what that and they have a daughter. So imagine what that daughter is going to go through. That daughter can't even go to regular school.
But they can afford to put her in private school.
Right. But you don't know what effects that's going to have on a child. Imagine if your parents were like that and you had a famous mom and she's out there getting blasted by a big black dude and you're seeing the video.
I don't think race matters.
Hey, listen to me. Listen to me. Race matters, okay? All right?
To certain people in the world.
Race
but I'm
matters.
from Canada, and we love everyone.
And when they see stuff like that, it'll traumatize the kid, man. So this stuff,
I've
game,
heard Pamela Anderson's son spoke a little bit about what he went through, and he had a rough time.
But that was a little different, though. That was like domestic violence. That was a whole bunch of stuff on display.
And the sex tape.
That was a cocktail of destruction. Because now you got
drugs,
jokes
sex
on
tape.
your mom getting beat up. Then you got jokes on your mom with the sex tape thing. Then you got a bunch of things. So that's tough.
Yeah, that would be tough.
Kanye's kids too. Kanye's kids is gonna get it too, because look at Kim and look how she came up.
Oh, look at Kanye. Look at all the stuff he's saying.
So
which is true.
Both ends there.
It's just like family to me is very important. I think shielding your family. I think shielding it from a bunch of things that are haram is important, and having a certain belief system and standing by that is important. So that's why I wouldn't go to that extent of doing that, because I just want to protect my family and my values. That's it.
What is your thoughts?
My thoughts pretty much resembles most of the things he said. I'm just going to add a little bit to it because, again, like if someone breaks into the house, I know I'm the first line of defense. So if that's a woman, I'm going to give my resources and my life and my time and energy to, and like I have to be, the one there for her emotionally. I don't want to share her with another man. I'm sorry. Like that's just me. I'm very, when it comes to a woman I want to spend the rest of my life with, it might sound bad, but I don't want to say the word territorial, but but I'm just very focused. I'm very invested in a person that I'm dealing.
Imagine that. If someone's breaking into the home, is she going to go ask the guy that blew her back out at the swinger convention to come save her? No.
If someone broke into my house and I was there with my fictional husband, I'd be there with him.
I'm just saying,
I plant things around my house for that reason.
You're not gonna call on the dude that you had a one night stand with to protect you.
No.
That's what I'm saying. That person that's doing that with you shouldn't have access to you, because they're not gonna be the ones protecting your life.
I agree.
Okay, so in my experience, if I'm gonna be that guy to protect your life, I don't want anybody else having access to you, because now you become my responsibility, and that's important. So that's just my opinion. Everyone is different. So
let us know your opinion in the comments. We want to hear what you have to say. Who do you agree with? Do you think I'm crazy?
Yeah, you are.
Well,
You're an extension of
certifiable.
Harley Quinn.
I ain't gonna go that far, but okay.
Just forewarning you, I'm a little nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's different. You know, the institution of marriage is very weird these days, and I just go off of what I believe in my heart, what a man and a woman should be together, or even two same-sex marriages, right? I think if you have it doesn't matter, male, female, male, male, female, female. It doesn't matter. That's your person.
Yeah.
Protect your person at all costs. For me to share my person, and that other person's getting access to my person, and they're not going to protect and care for my person, is a big no-no for me. So you cannot have access to that if you're not willing to die for mine.
Not even just protect, like give that person your resources.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like, you know.
But also I'll have to say this. Also, there are some really, really close swingers that take care of each other. Like they're really connected. They're almost like family. So I've seen two sides of the coin when it comes to swinging. I've seen the connective tissue when it comes to being close, taking care of each other. It's almost like a little network.
Yeah, it's a great caring community.
And if something goes down, like the other couple can come help out. If something, I've seen that. So there is a good community in the swinging community, right? But there's also the other side of it, you know? And I just truly believe if I'm going to share my person, I need to be connected to that other person as well. And we all need to be on the same page.
That's fair.
And I think that would be better than you going out with some random dude and I have to give you away.
Yeah.
You know,
if you had a couple friend and they came over and you had a private situation in your home.
I think that would be more easier on my mind.
Yeah.
You know, knowing that, okay, you know, they're intimate with my wife, but they also provide resources. They also provide value to us. Yeah. You know, that person might have a big business and they might do certain things for us, you know, or it's a resource. And it goes back to like what I was saying about having friends. I believe if you have friends and there's no absolute benefits to it, then what's the point of that friendship? I think friendships, you should build your network. You should have people in high places. Or even if they're not in high places, they should provide some kind of value to you as your friend.
You are who you hang out with.
Exactly.
I agree.
You know, and if it also depends on the person. So if your value comes with just a good conversation and, you know, you make me laugh, then if that's what you require, then that's your value. That's what you bring to the table, and that's what you will accept. So if I like Franklin because he makes me laugh, and I want him around because he brings me comedic value, then okay, that's where his value comes in, right?
And intelligent conversation.
Right. But I'm saying if I'm a different type of person, I say, well, I don't want that. That's not valuable to me. But Franklin's a great photographer. I'm able to use his resources as a photographer, and he can set things up for me. That's where I find his value to me, right? So everyone determines value differently, right?
I agree.
You know, there's some people that may not be models, so they might not see value in you, Franklin, right?
of course not.
Because you don't have they don't model, right? So for me, when I'm dealing with any type of friend, I try to look at, okay, what are the positives of this friendship, and how can this friendship benefit me long term? Because I'm a busy man, you know. So everybody in my corner that I have counts for something.
Quid pro quo.
Right.
Like you get something, I get something back in return.
Everyone should be able to lift each other up. We should be able to lift each other up and call on each other if we need something important, right?
Speaking of lifting each other up, we've been on for over an hour.
Look at that.
Time.
We're getting places, right?
We are. Time has flown by with
Yes, it
you.
has.
Franklin, thank you so much for being a guest on the Wild Tribe podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And till next time, it's your boy Fernello. We're out here. And just remember one thing. Always respect value and time. Because time is money, and you can't get it back. I'm Fernello, and this is Wild Tribe. We'll see you guys next time.